Three, two, one, and we are live. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. I'm here today with my beautiful friend, Nadine. Nadine, I've known you now for how long? Like almost going on a year. We're working towards this.
Yes.
Welcome to the show. And how do I say your last name again? I apologize.
No, we don't use last names, do we? It's Searle. It's not.
I would have
It's
totally
yes.
said the wrong thing.
That's all right. You say Nadine perfectly. That will do for me.
But how do we say your last name though? Really?
Searle. It's Searle. Searle. Searle.
How would
It's easier than it looks.
I need to figure out how to associate to something.
Well, a lot of people say, "Oh, it's like Sir," like Sir.
Oh, Sir. Okay, good. Yeah, Sir.
If you like, but as I say, Nadine does for me. So
yeah, because I would have said Searle.
yeah, you wouldn't be the only one.
yeah, I know, right? So anyway, my name's easy, Kornelia Stephanie, right?
Exactly.
So
it's beautiful. Yeah, beautiful.
Two first names, which is that never used to be my full name. I changed my name because my maiden name is German, because I was born and raised in Germany. My maiden name is German, and that was, in German we call it Dengel, Dengel. So and then when I came to the United States, and when I was working in corporate and people would have to call me by my last name, they would hammer the name, right? They would hammer it. And so I remember thinking, how can I give people direction to call me by my last name where they don't really, destroy the name? So I remembered Denzel, Denzel, and so Dengel, 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 right?
Yeah.
So that worked. And then when I was writing my book back in getting ready to publish my book back in 2014, Spirit said to me, drop the last name. Drop the last name. And so, when it came, and I said, you mean just drop the last name? The higher self was recommending that I drop the last name and that I just go by Kornelia Stephanie. And you know what's so cool is that I made it just in time before we published, because everything was already written on the front book that had the old name, but we got it done.
You did it. Yeah, it was meant to be then. It is definitely.
So it's wonderful to have you here. And, here it is, 8:00 in the morning on the Pacific time zone here. And you are in England, right?
I am, yes.
Tell us where you are. Tell us where you are.
I'm in England. I'm on the south coast. I'm in a little place called Hastings. So I'm right down the bottom on the coast. And for me, it is afternoon, 4:00 in the afternoon. So, which is lovely. Really lovely.
So I just love this whole internet, the way that we can communicate with each other on a global scale. It always brings back, appreciation for how we can do that. And then we have these streams and these podcasts, and it can go everywhere simultaneously. Like you and I right now, we're streaming live on Facebook. We're streaming live on YouTube. And when you and I are done, I'm going to take this podcast and I'm going to put it onto my media channel, and it's going to load up to 50 plus media outlets. And so that's also another beautiful gift that we get to, where we can expand our reach, far and wide, that we would have normally not been able to do. Think about just 10 years ago.
Yes, it blows my little mind, Kornelia. It really does, right? How we can do this.
10 years ago. And yesterday morning, Nadine, I was on with my Palladian friends, Pia and Colin. Let me see, did I? Yes, I did. They are from Cyprus.
Oh, yeah.
So they live in Cyprus. So, I met with them yesterday morning at 7:30. So that's when we did our monthly call. And when I meet with them, we talk about, all things ascension related and how to navigate the higher energies here today. So I always love coming together with them, as I love coming together with you. And so I just wanted to quickly just chime in and talk about the current energies that we're in, because this is also an important piece to acknowledge right now is,
Mm.
there's just so much change going on, and there's, people are definitely feeling, uh, you know, the uncertainty.
Yeah, yeah, I think,
The
yeah.
uncertainty. People are feeling, all the uncertainty because people are so empathic. People
Mm,
are empathic and are feeling the uncertainty. And I just want to make note that the lower mind always wants to know that it's safe and doesn't want any spontaneous things happening. It
mm,
doesn't want any surprises. And the lower mind wants to, stay in that certain familiar place. And that is not supporting the evolution of where we're going. And we
yeah,
have to really, really be willing to trust and to be open to the uncertainty, to know that the universe has got our back.
mm, mm,
And to know that, and to believe that, to know that. When back in February, we were invited to really up level our self-esteem and our inner knowing, how we thought about ourselves, what we
mm,
were feeling about ourselves. How do you feel about yourself? How do you think about yourself? How do you talk to yourself? Right? So now we're being asked to take a look at, how do we feel about the universe,
mm,
God, source, the universe, how, whatever your belief system is. How do you feel the universe? How do you feel about that? And how do you respond to what's happening in the world with the way that you feel about your spiritual belief, whatever
mm,
whatever that belief is? So there's that, right? So now we're being invited to take a look at what our beliefs are and up level those. If we're not trusting, if we're not believing that the universe has our back and everything always works out, we get to release that very quickly, release it and let it go, and come back to your beautiful, magical present moment where you are right now. And this is the place that you are creating your future from. Because we've heard it 1,000 times that the magic, the mastery is in the present moment,
mm,
right? We've heard
yeah,
it 1,000 times. And so this is where we actually have to work from. We have to make our present moment just like we want it to be, in the midst of the chaos, in the midst of the uncertainty, in the midst of all of the things, juggling all of the balls. We come back to the magic of our present moment and how do we want it to be.
mm,
And if in our present moment things are frustrating, things aren't working out like we thought they would, maybe the car broke down like it happened to me, maybe the schedules got rearranged and things aren't working out. If that is the case, it's an opportunity for us to go with the flow and know that it's all going to work out, if that is your belief. If it's not your belief, then maybe that would be a supporting belief for you to embody. What is your thoughts about that?
oh, you've said so much there. I've got lots of thoughts actually, but just to pick up on one point that you said about being in the present moment and how we create our future, our whole life in the moment. I've got to confess that that took me such a long time to grasp, that mindfulness in its essence, if you like, is in the now. And it took me so long to get that because I was always planning ahead, always looking ahead and thinking I needed to be doing that to be effective. So to get that message and hear it loud and clear and live it took me a long time. It wasn't an easy thing for me to grasp, but I've got it. I still need to remind myself sometimes. And like you say, we have had this opportunity with all that's gone on in the world the last year, 18 months, to really reevaluate that because things have been taken away from us, haven't they? So all we have sometimes is the now. And actually, that is a bit of a blessing, isn't it? To actually go, right, I'm just focusing on now. And again, I'll confess what I do quite often. I get quite frustrated with technology. It's not my strongest point. And when that happens to me, what I'm being told, the universe, like you say, has my back. It's telling me, get away. Get away from the computer. This is not where you need to be at this present moment. Be outside. Go out with the dogs. Be in nature. Do something you love and enjoy. Make yourself happy again, right here, right now. And that is the lesson. But I still resist. I still go, oh no, I've got to get things done. And then I go, oh, I remember. So it's that constant, I am still learning all the time. I know what you're saying is absolutely right, but I still have to catch myself and remind myself. And the universe is telling me. And it is the word that you use that I think is massive is trust. Trusting that actually someone else is looking after me, something else bigger than me is looking after me. And that is a massive thing to feel. It's quite powerful, isn't it? Really, really powerful.
It is, and it's brilliant how you spoke of that and how you talked about that it took a while to get there. That's the practice, isn't it? I mean, it's not like all of a sudden where when we heard of The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, because really that's the first time, right?
Yes,
That's the first time that I remember hearing about the power of now. And since that time, and it's like when you hear something and it is the truth, that like reverberates on every level. It's like check, 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 check. Everything clicks into place. The power of now. And so then we get to practice living in that. And like we said, we've heard it 1,000 times, but then we get in the way. And then we practice, But notice this, Nadine, you're going to love this. You're going to love how, you and I are coming together to talk about self-realization and the inner child. And self-realization. And notice how what we just talked about is perfectly tied in to the inner child. Because when you are being called to go outside and not work or not be with the technology or whatever, it is that inner child that is calling you out to go and play. It's that magical inner child that is calling you to go out and play, to bring you back into your joy, to bring you back into your peace. And because the magical child knows that everything's going to be okay. But it is the wounded child that doesn't feel safe and doesn't feel, because the wounded child's triggers are coming up from the past, because it remembers, when I was a young child, I didn't get heard. I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel valued. I didn't feel appreciated. I don't know about you, but for me, it was like my mom would give us one look. It was like one look, the whole thing of children should be seen and not heard. Right. She'd give us that one look, and it would just be that one look, and it'd be like, oh my God, it was that. And so it's so interesting to undo all of those beliefs, this deep inner child work that we're doing. But like I had said in our previous podcast, is that I feel that the inner child work that we do is the most magical work that we can do to come home to the truth of who we are, to remember the self, to have that self-realization that, we are one, and that healing that old wound is actually going to be the gold, bringing that love back into that present moment, getting your needs met from the time you were a child to, right?
Yeah, I so agree with that. And I too, it's really interesting what you say there, because it's not just the universe, it is my inner child saying, come play, come play. And actually, when I was a child, I wasn't allowed to play a lot of the time. It was work, don't play. So there is at times a conflict. My inner child is saying play, 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 but I'm also battling that, going, no, we have to work. So there is a little bit of conflict, but again, it comes down to the trust, doesn't it? And remembering that actually my inner child knows what's best for me. So listening to that is the key, isn't it? To actually go, yeah, my inner child is telling me what to do for my own good, because
Yeah.
she knows best. And it's remembering that, isn't it? And getting that, like you say, coming out of your comfort zone, coming out of what we're used to, and actually going, yeah, I can play, I can do that. It is
Yeah.
okay to do that.
Yeah. And what if we think that the inner child is actually the heart? So the heart that's calling you out, because in the new earth, in the power of now, in the now, we are leading from the heart, not the mind.
Yes,
And
yeah,
so, what if we think that the inner child is the heart, that
mm,
that is that intuition, that heart that's calling you out, and the working part is actually the mind saying, you should be
yeah,
working.
mm,
So now what we're doing is we're looking for balance and trying to bring the balance in and unify the heart with the mind. So, but that the heart leads.
yes, yeah. And that's something quite, for me, and probably for a lot of people, it's quite different to actually, like you say, come out of your head, which is where I've done all my thinking, all my planning, like I said earlier, and coming out and actually do. And I do a little meditation on it quite often. You know, the inner child tells me it's a lot simpler if I listen to her, but I do a little meditation on it to come out of my head and into my heart. And then it is just, it's a relief. It's such a relief to actually stop all that busyness and just go, yeah, my heart, my inner child knows. Don't have to think, don't have to make it hard work. It's really simple and it's a joy. So it's
Yeah.
just, but again, I still battle with that sometimes. So
Oh yeah, I think we all do. We battle with it until we're done, until we've realized
yeah,
that that's what I mean by self-realization. We've
yes,
realized the
exactly.
self.
Mm,
We've
mm,
realized the self. I'm going to have a question for you and for the audience a little bit later that Spirit asked me yesterday morning. It's a fantastic question, but I don't want to bring it out
oh,
yet. But I'm really looking forward to talking about that more. But right now, I want to share a story about my inner child when I first started listening to her, the inner child when I first started listening to her. And this was in 2000, and I want to say maybe it was 2010, 2011. I was I had already quit my corporate job. I left the matrix. I stepped out, and I had this huge house and this huge mortgage payment and
mm,
all of that. And I was on a walk one day. And on that walk, all of a sudden I heard, what would you do if you had all the money in the world? Would you stay in this house, or what would you do? That was the question that I heard. And I thought, if I had all the money in the world, because also it was during that time when the housing market crashed. And it was because it was in 2008, during that time when the housing
mm,
market crashed. And when my house turned upside down in value, like by so much money, like it was ridiculous, right? So I thought, if I had all the money in the world, would I put it back into this house, and would I do this? What would I do? And the question came back, no, if I had all the money in the world, I would sell this house and I would move on, and I would most likely move to a different city, and I would move somewhere else. So this is when I revealed that question to me, it spurred me into action. I went home, put the house on the market like that, and went home, put the house on the market, and then started going, where would I want to live? And I decided that I wanted to live in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
mm,
So I contacted two of my girlfriends. I told them, I'm getting ready to move to Santa Fe, New Mexico. Will you go down there with me? Let's have a vacation and let's go find my perfect living spot.
mm,
Right? So we go down there. We went to New Mexico. We had to fly, get tickets, go down. We found the perfect place. We found the perfect living spot. I found my apartment. I said, okay, great. I put the money down and I said, wonderful. I have to now go back and wrap up my house. And once that's all done, I'm coming down and moving into my new life, into my 1-bedroom apartment that I rented here in this, you guys call it a flat. And
Mm.
now I'm going to, and then I'll come back. So everything was all sorted. That was all handled. I get back home to pack up the house and wrap everything up when all of a sudden I'm out on the walk and my inner little girl said to me, I don't want to move. So my inner child, the one from childhood, said to me, Mommy,
Yeah. Mm.
I don't want to move. And so it's that parent, when we become our inner parents, right? Where as a kid, we've moved 1,000 times. We moved so many times that I was never asked or questioned, is it okay to move? Is it, but I also didn't realize, that I was now at this time working with my inner child. And
Mm.
all of a sudden now my inner child was going to come and be present and say to me, the voice, it was going to say, hey, mommy, I don't want to move.
Mm. Yeah. And you're going to listen. Yeah. You're going to
Oh
listen.
my God.
Mm.
And I'm going to listen. And would you believe I canceled everything?
I do believe that. Yes.
I canceled everything. I said, you
Yeah.
don't want to move? No. Well,
Yeah.
so that was the first time that I listened to my inner voice. And so then things had to be canceled. The apartment had to be canceled. I had to be willing to lose money because
Yeah.
are they going to give me a refund, or are they only going to give me a partial refund because they could have rented it to someone else? These were all things.
Yeah.
And now
So
I don't have
that's your head coming in, isn't it? Your head going, oh, but what about this? But go back to the heart, go back to your child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
and really listen to that inner child and uh, be willing to take action in according to the messages, the value of what
Yeah.
you know. If you were a parent and if you are getting your emotional needs met, I love this story so much
Mm.
because even I didn't have it all written out and that this is what was happening to me or this is what I'm doing or working on. The action that I took was honoring my inner child.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
that was an automatic thing that even though I already had everything all sorted, but I had never had done this before. So it was just absolutely brilliant. And then of course I didn't have a new place to live yet, and I had to find a place to live here. But I canceled everything to honor my inner child, to get my emotional needs met, and that was the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. That is powerful. Very, very powerful. And it is tuning in, isn't it? And listening without questioning. To actually just go, well, this is what my inner child is telling me. This is what my inner child wants and needs. And I am going to do that for her, for me. And that is very, very powerful. And I'm sure people listening to that story are going, oh, that's a new way of looking at things. Because for a lot of people, it is a new way. But it
Mm.
is a beautiful way, isn't it, to actually make decisions and live your life. And it is a joy, isn't it? It's easier. And you're so in tune with yourself then, aren't you? You're doing exactly the right thing without having to give your all that head work and all that busyness going on. It
And
just
it's
is
a
it.
practice. It's a
Yes, it is.
practice,
It is
because
a
like you
practice. Yeah,
said, it's
yeah,
your magical child is calling you out. Your inner child is calling you out to go play your heart.
yeah.
But it's like when you think about it, the world is an inside job. So we have our
Mm,
inner audience, we have our inner family, we have our inner parents, we have our inner children, we have the wounded child that we might need to love up a little bit more to bring things in the balance. And soon that inner child will stop crying,
yeah,
right? And then you could think about it like adopted children.
mm,
We have
mm,
these adopted children that one child has already had all the emotional needs met. The magical child is just here to explore and have fun and learn and do things and just be a kid. but then the wounded child that needs a little bit more tending, needs a little bit more care. And that's why you and I are having these conversations
Yes. Yeah.
to give people permission to sit with that wounded inner child and know that it is a part of you and that it deserves to have your love and your approval and your permission.
Yeah. It's so true, isn't it? Because it is all about just tuning in, because most people spend their life not tuning in at all. And like we talked on our last chat, this comes calling for a reason, and it is a blessing to be offered this opportunity to tune in. But it takes a bit of courage. I mean, what you've just described to us takes a lot of courage to do, to listen to your inner child and honor what she's asking for. But you did it. And that is, the start of something wonderful, isn't it? It's a wonderful way to live your life, isn't it? And I'm sure you've got lots more lovely stories like that. But it is where you talked about the wounded child. It brought to mind, actually, I don't know if I say it right, but the wounded healer, is it Kieran?
Yeah, the one, Chiron.
Chiron, yeah, I thought I wasn't going to say it right.
Yeah.
Chiron, yeah. And it just brought to mind that exactly, I had sort of tingles when you were saying it, thinking that is exactly the way I see you, definitely. You are putting this out into the world to heal, to help. And I feel myself, there's a place for me in that as well, because I feel that my wounds, if you like, have served me well.
Yeah.
And sharing that with other people, again, will help more people. And that is, it almost feels a bit to me like that's what we're here for, that kind of, that's what we're meant to be doing.
Yeah. And well, it's true, because think about it, everything that we've overcome as humans, everything that we've overcome, when we turn it into uh, the gifts to give back to
Mm,
humanity, to help others, to say this is what we've overcome and this is how you can too.
yes,
There's
exactly.
no need to, you know, there's no need to kill yourself. Really, it's,
Mm,
that I've talked about suicide often
yeah,
and I've
yeah.
overcome suicide. So
Mm,
I'm a suicide, I should say transcender, because I transcended.
mm, mm.
It's not, I'm not even a survivor. It's like,
No, it's more than that, isn't it?
it's
Yeah.
more than, exactly. It's like
Mm,
like really transcending suicide, because with the suicide, when you also mentioned Chiron, the wounded healer, and it's really basically all the wounds that are here in this lifetime to heal and to transcend and to integrate back into wholeness, because we came here to evolve, and we came here to learn from our lessons and to heal these wounds, so that we can come home to the truth of who we are, so
mm,
that we can realize the self and realize how absolutely amazing, magnificent, amazing, loving, honoring, magnificent, brilliant beings that we are, that
yeah.
we're not the wounds of our past, and we're
Yeah.
not the stories of our past, and that we did not come here to commit suicide. We came here to transcend it and to live
Mm,
and to fight for our life, not from a place of, causing war, but from a place of honoring the self.
yeah. Yeah. Which is key, isn't it? And like you say, it's not surviving, it's thriving, isn't it? It's shining brightly. It's so much more than that, isn't it? And that is our right. And that is what we're here for, isn't it? So it's so important. And I think it's so lovely to think, you can think, oh, I was wounded as a child. My little me is hurting or has been hurt and everything. But that we can do something about it. And sometimes it is as simple as just listening.
Mhm.
It can be that simple and that beautiful, can it, that we can do something. And that for me is so empowering, that actually, it almost doesn't matter what bad things have happened in the past, how terrible things might have been. We can do something about it. And that is the powerful thing, because I used to think, well, actually, that's all what happened in the past. There's nothing I can do about that. But we can. And like you say, the power as well of drawing that line and moving on. It doesn't have to hold us back. That again is the revelation for me, to
That's,
go, we can we
yeah,
can move we can move on from that. It doesn't have to stop us. And I've got to be honest with you, you
yeah,
mentioned earlier the start of this pandemic. My inner child came up big time, all my fears, all my insecurities, everything came to the fore. And it did. I had a wobble. I call it a wobble for a little while, but I knew what to do. I recognized it. I thought, I know what this is. I know what to do about it. So I went big time into self-care, looking after little me, looking after everything that was important in them now, as you said earlier, and came out the other side very quickly. So that again is a joy, because it used to be something that froze me with fear. It used to be something that I couldn't cope with. So to know, and I think it's important, I think for me anyway, to recognize that these feelings will come up. They are part of me. That's the way I feel. It's part of me. But it's okay if they do come up. There's a reason why they come up, and a good reason.
Excellent.
But we can do something about it. And that's the change that I feel big time. And that's what I want to share with people, because it is so freeing.
Yeah, I love how you voiced all of that. It's absolutely brilliant. It's exactly when it comes up, there's a reason why it comes up, so
Mm,
that you can do something about it. Because
right.
think about it, when you were a kid, Nadine, and I know, like, for me, we talked about in our last
Yeah.
video,
Mm,
that my mom wasn't there because she had to be the breadwinner.
mm,
So there
mm,
was nobody really there to meet the needs of me.
mm,
So
mm.
now um, I'm doing something about it to meet those emotional
Yeah.
needs. And basically, I'm not telling the story of woe is me, this is the blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah,
Yeah.
but I'm rewriting the story. I'm
Mm, mm.
rewriting the story in this lifetime. I'm
Yes.
rewriting the story so that my inner child, the one that's been crying for my attention all my life, has been loved and nurtured by me. And the story that I'm now telling is that I had a wonderful childhood
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I'm doing it. I'm listening. I'm doing it. I'm
Mm.
rewriting it. And
You're making it right, aren't you? That's the beauty,
that's
isn't it?
what she
Yeah.
said. We can do something about it. And
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
that's the thing. And everyone can do this.
Mm,
Everyone.
mm.
So it's not like, you have to get this degree or you have to have, all these things. It's you have to, like you said, the word, you have to have courage
Mm,
and you have
mm.
to make the room and you have to
Yes.
be willing to
Yeah.
face
Yeah.
what's there to face
Yeah.
and feel what's
Mm.
there to feel, because honestly, it's in this body. It's in the
Well,
body.
well, that's the thing, isn't it? I was scared of revisiting, going back to my childhood. I was very scared of it, resistant to it. But actually, when I did realise, like you say, yes, courage is part of it, but also is that had already happened. It wasn't as if I was making something happen. It had already happened, and I can make that better. I can heal that, rather than actually go back and just go, oh, it's awful, and relive it in its awfulness. It's actually that I can go back and do something different and make that better. And that's the difference. And once I realised that, the fear was taken away, because there's no need to be scared of that. I can go back. It was reality, all the things that I was scared of revisiting, but it's okay. Because, like you say, you're going back as the adult, the parent, the one who cares, the one who listens, the one who can do something. And like you say, not being heard, not having that when you were a child, then you are lost and you are scared. But now we can go back and we can actually nurture and love and care and do what needs to be done. And like you say, it starts with listening, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It starts with
Mm.
listening. And so as soon as you say that, it always sparks something else.
I
So
know. I know.
because listen to this. So when you were talking, what it sparked is that, and you see what happens when we don't nurture the inner child, the wounded child that
Yeah.
had been crying for our attention. When we don't do it, then what we will do is we will attract relationships, a partner,
Mm.
a husband or a wife that is going to bring up those issues and keep those issues up front and center until that that part is healed, because it's always going to bring back the energy
Mm.
from the time when you were a child,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's where you were the most vulnerable and open. Between the ages of 0 and 7, you were openly absorbing all of the ways that we relate to the world,
mm,
right? And you were
mm.
a vulnerable little child, and whatever you were being programmed by, experienced, conditioned by, this is no blame. It's
No,
not about
no.
blame, you know?
Mm,
It's
mm,
just, this is what happened. And then you get to later on in life play out those beliefs and see if you actually believe some of those things.
yeah.
Was that really true? And not feeling safe, and then maybe attracting a relationship with a partner that abandons you and doesn't make
Mm,
you feel safe. And then it brings up stuff from your past
yes.
where
Yeah.
your father, your mother wasn't there,
Yeah.
or, where, you were devalued and you weren't,
Mm,
held high
mm,
with the amazing, absolutely brilliant, loving, loving, loving human being that you are. And that
mm,
father or mother that holds you high and says, you're the most magnificent child. You can do anything you want. Anything is possible.
mm, mm. It's so, so true, isn't it? I really feel that for me, it wasn't. You're absolutely right. Attracting relationships is what we do, isn't it? To give us an opportunity to put it right. That's what sort of happens in life, isn't it? It's what we attract, like you say. But for me, it was within every situation, every work situation. I was repeating the same things to get that, to feel valued, to give myself another opportunity to shine, to actually go, right, this person is giving me a hard time, but I can deal with this, I can do it, and actually overcome it. Although at the time I was going, why am I finding work relationships so difficult? But it was just to get that message hitting home to me deep in my heart, that actually, this will keep happening until you realize you don't need it anymore, that you can just shine without the heartache, without the difficulty. And again, I was quite resistant to that, but it came, and it's so lovely when it does, isn't it? But again, it is that going back to the wounds of the childhood, and
Yep.
just actually going, we will relive them. There will be opportunities. They'll come knocking, like you say, knocking, knock, knocking. Going, here we go. Here's a chance for you to do it again, to get it right, to feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
And that's, yeah,
And because you said the word, until you realize, and
yeah,
that's what self-realization is all about.
exactly.
If
Yeah.
you self-realize, you know this, there's no reason to, you know, do anything different and go back to the old story, to
Yeah.
the old trauma, because once you are self-realized and you remember,
Yeah.
then this is where the gift lies. And I
Mm,
always say this, Nadine, I always say, what will humanity be capable of now that, if we've healed all our childhood wounds, if we've released the emotional suppression that we've had in
mm,
the physical body that causes diseases, when we've investigated our negative limiting beliefs and realized that they're not true, that's not what I believe today. And we have a really good, strong spiritual foundation that we're building our new earth on, our new world on. What will humanity be doing now if we're not focused and distracted on
mm,
the past?
mm.
I mean, think about that.
Wow. Yes. Wow.
It's like, okay, so when we're done healing all these things and done doing
Yeah.
all, what will we be doing in 10 years from now, when,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I feel like it's probably going to take, for, because right now there's a lot of people that are still asleep to what you and I are talking about.
Yes. Yes. Totally. I really feel that this is, a lot of people won't have heard of this, won't be doing it, will take time, as I did. But you're absolutely right. I mean, you're saying for humanity, the big picture, but
Yep.
I'm actually being a bit more selfish about that, going, what can I do? Because I've freed up a lot of my energy. I've freed up a lot of my negativity to actually go, yes, I am able to stand in my power and shine brightly and do what I'm doing and enjoy it. I say all the time, I want to live my life with ease and joy. And I've got it. I've got it. I had it all the time, but I've got it. And like you say, how freeing is that, and how much power does that give us?
Yeah.
What can we do? And
Yeah.
it
Well,
is.
you said
Woo.
you're doing it. So what are you doing? How are you helping people? How are you
Yeah.
helping clients? Tell us what you're doing.
Yeah, I love it, and like you say, most of the people that come to me, they come to me for lots of different reasons, normally because they've hit a wall and they're stressed or overwhelmed. But when we look into what's going on and we look at emotions, and that's how I work with people, it goes back to childhood quite often, because that is where our habits and our, as we've just been describing, all of our patterns are formed when we're young, before we realize, before we can do anything about it. So by revisiting, in whatever shape or form, it doesn't have to be called inner child work as such, it can be any shape or
Yeah.
form, just looking back and going, where did this start? What's it about? Recognizing. And I call it recognizing and releasing, and you've talked about releasing a lot today. Recognize it, and honor it, accept it, know its place, it's okay, and then we are free to just let it be, let it go, or just move. It doesn't have to go completely, but it can just get out of our way. And
You
that's
you have such a beautiful, calm voice. Your company is called The Calmer Self, right?
it is, yes, and
Right.
I love
You
that.
also do beautiful meditations.
Yes, I do. I send people to sleep a lot, which is
Tell us about
beautiful.
that. Tell us about
Yeah,
that.
I do. I work a lot with people that have trouble sleeping, because that is stress and anxiety most of the time, isn't it? And again, switching off that busy head. So I do personalized meditations for my clients, but I do general ones as well. And sleep is a big issue. So just getting off to sleep and just calming that mind, like we talked about earlier, getting out of your head into your body, using the breath, using my voice as a guide, and just letting people calm and settle. And they go to sleep quite quickly, which
That's
is lovely.
wonderful. Yeah, that's wonderful. So do you have these meditations for sale, or how does that work?
Yes, I do. I mentioned before my YouTube channel, Calmer Self. It's just Calmer Self. But there are some generic meditations on there that people can try. They're just like little tasters, really. But they quite often do the job. They work quite often for people. But I really do love when I work with someone over a period of time to do some personalized meditations for them, because I record something that is very deep and meaningful for them,
Oh, that's
whatever works for them. So it's really tuning in with what they're struggling with, what they want to become,
mhm.
and then that works the best. And they don't have to be long. Most of them are quite quick and simple, because it's fitting them into life, isn't it? So, but I love doing that, because it is, especially when it's personal, because I know that what I'm giving then is really going to help them. And it's just, as we've just been talking about, reminding. I have little meditations that I do myself to remind myself, and
Yeah.
that's what I can give to others, which is really lovely, just to tune
Yeah,
in.
and that's exactly what it is that you're doing.
Mm,
You said, "What can I do? What can I do? What can I offer?" And that's
mm,
exactly what we're doing here. We already are transmitting. We already are offering. You know, this is also what I do with my podcast. I do so
yeah,
many podcasts.
I
I mean, in
know,
this
I
week
know.
alone, I've just increased things. And so there's a lot of work that I'm
Mm,
putting out. So for those of you that are listening to this, you can, get your favorite podcast app. And very soon we're going to have the Kornelia Stephanie app. Oh my God.
whoa.
I know that's going to be so cool that you're going to be able to listen to all of my podcasts and all of my hosts, the Cornelia Stephanie Media family, which I help entrepreneurs and
Yeah, you do.
entrepreneurs and coaches become podcasters so that they
Mm, mhm,
expand their reach. And so if
brilliant, yeah.
you're looking to become a podcaster, feel free to reach out to me. This is one of the things that I do. I also, you can download your favorite podcast app and look for Cornelia Stephanie there. That's one way that you can check out all the wonderful content that I'm putting out. I also currently right now have, as you know, you've taken my 21-day challenge,
Yes, yes.
Nadine.
It
What do
it
you
is.
what do you want to say about that?
Yeah, I feel going back to what I was saying about that daily practice and actually reminding yourself, the 21-day challenge is perfect for that. I confessed in our last little chat that I don't always start my day the way that is the best for me. And that's the key, starting your day with some positivity, with some self-love and some self-care. And your 21-day challenge gave me the opportunity to do that. It was there for me to actually go, right, I'm going to do this every morning. That's when I set my time to do it. And I think that's probably the best time to do it. Tuning in. And it is so loving and so nurturing. Your words are so beautiful. Again, you've got that beautiful voice. And it just made me feel every morning to start my day that way, just to feel loved, cared for, in tune, and actually setting up my day in a way that was going to serve me well, because it is about, what are you sowing the seeds for? What are you preparing? What do you want? And again, a lot of times when I was listening to them, and I do dip back into them from time to time, without a doubt, they're there for me. Just actually feeling that in tune with my inner child, it is actually going, what do I want at my heart, at my core? What does little me need? What do I need? What do I want? How am I going to act in the now, as we said earlier? How am I going to go about my day? And as I say, your 21-day challenge, I think you called it a challenge, but I don't see it like that. I see it as a 21-day joy, really,
Yeah.
to actually just do that every day. And because you've got that, you're going to do it every day. It sort of sets you up to do that, doesn't it? And as I say, I dip back into it from time to time because it serves me really well.
That's why I call it a challenge, because most people don't finish 21 days.
Yeah.
That's why it's that, but it's really a 21-day enhancing experience, so that you
Yes.
can really listen to your inner self. You can release the triggers, the emotional triggers that are coming up through your experiences. You can realize all the wonderful things, 5 things every day to think about gratitude.
Yeah.
What are you grateful
Mm.
for? And you have that 10-minute audio invitation where I guide you into that daily spiritual practice that you have, that you can listen to your inner self, because I'm always going to be guiding you back in, because
Yeah.
that's where the gold lies. And it's in that, and it's for 21 days for
Yes.
$21, and you can start at any time. So
Yes. Yeah.
challenge, I'm going to put the link below. When you watch this video, the link's going to be below. You can begin at any time. And this is, again, like you said, Nadine, people go back into it, even
Mm.
after they've done it, they go back into it later.
Yeah.
And you also did tell me initially in the beginning, you said, Kornelia, this is, you have so many things in here that it's all the questions that you're asking is invoking other things
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. It went deep for me, and I'm sure it would for other people. So I did take my time, and like you say, you can do it in your own pace. You don't have to do every day. I did do some of them the next day. I repeated. Some of them I took time and did perhaps later in the day, because I wanted to really, really get what you were saying and the feelings that were coming up for me. I did a bit of journaling around it as well, working out things. So it really led me on to other parts of practice which are really beneficial. But there is, and I did say to you, and it wasn't a criticism at all, but it was, there
No.
is so much in there
Yeah.
that actually I just thought, so you can take it whatever way you want. I took it at a very deep level, and
Yeah.
I really almost like wrung out everything I could out of it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I still am. I still, as I say, will go back and revisit bits. But you can also take it as a very, like, this is my practice every morning, 10 minutes every morning. It can be that quick and simple as well. It's
Yeah.
what you want to make of it. But there is so much in there. There is so
Yeah.
much in there.
Well, one thing about me is that, in my life, I'm just a deep person. Like when somebody sits in front of me and I look into their eyes, I will look into their soul. And some people, they will right away take their eyes and they will look away,
Yeah.
because they don't want me to see whatever it is that I'm going to see, because it's that deep. And this is how I work. This is my energy work. This is who I am. I'm here to live the truth, to be in my truth, to be the person that I came to be. And I have done that, and I will continue to do that, which is going to lead me now to the question that I'm
Oh,
going to.
yes, the question.
So I'm going to leave us with this question, and you and I can open it up now. And then I'd love the audience to also answer the question in the chat and let us know what yours is. So, and then Nadine, you and we're going to come back again in a couple of weeks, and we're
Yes.
going to carry on the conversation with the
I think there's so much, isn't there, that we can discuss on this.
Yeah, and I don't even know, did we get to any of your questions today, or did they automatically get answered?
No, we didn't, but they're all to come. They're all to
Yeah,
come
they're
because
all
it's like you say something that triggers off something that I want to say, vice versa, and that's lovely. That's beautiful, and that's the
It's
way
so
it is.
organic. It's
So,
so
so
organic.
yeah. So
It
we
wasn't
have
planned out. See, it's that we have
exactly.
the headline. We know we're going to be bringing the inner child because we want this inner child
Yeah.
to get all the emotional needs met that haven't been met from
Mm,
childhood, and that you integrate that part, and that this inner child feels so loved, feels so nurtured
mm.
by you, and that's it. That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it.
I've got my little one here too.
Yes, yes, and
My
that's
me,
beautiful.
me and my little Nadine too. So
That's
I
right.
love it.
Little Nadine,
I
yeah, and
love it.
this is little Cornelia.
Yeah, yeah.
Yay. So, okay, so
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 the
yesterday
question.
morning, this is so cool. Yesterday morning, Spirit said, uh, "What is it, Cornelia, that you want?" Excuse me. What is it, Cornelia, that you want people to know about you?
Oh,
What is it
that's
that you want people to know about you? So I was reflecting how one day we're here and one day we're not. I was in that kind of reflection. I was, thinking, wow, so I was in that. And then Spirit said, what is it that you want people to know about you? What is it that you want people to know? And so now I'm going to ask the people that same question because
mm.
here's the thing. When now I'm going to communicate to you what it is that I want people to know about me. And what I want people to know about me is that I remembered the truth of who I am. And I remembered the truth of who I am, not just all of a sudden one day, click. It wasn't like that. It was hard work to earn myself back to myself,
Mm, mm.
to remember the truth of who I am, that I'm not a slave, that I'm a sovereign being, that I am in the image and the likeness of the oneness of all life, that I am 100% in my soul source energy, and that I have healed my life, that I'm healing my body, and that you can too. And so that's what I want people to know, that I am a co creator of heaven on earth, and that my mission is peace on earth. And that's my work and that's my legacy. So, there, what I want people to know is that this is me. This is me. And
Mm,
I feel good about that. And I
yeah,
feel excited about that. And that's the thing that gets me out of bed in the morning. And so it's not elusive. It's not some kind of elusive thing. It's something that I work on every day, every moment, practicing in the moment, being that higher consciousness and bringing the higher consciousness into that moment. And I've been living this way now for a long time, and I want people to know this about me,
yeah.
so that one day or whatever, that people know this is who Cornelia was. This is her legacy. This is what her message was. So my question to you now, Nadine, is what do you want people to know about you?
Oh, mm. I, do you know, I can't answer that instantly. I don't know. I was going to say to you, did your answer come instantly? Because that's
No,
interesting to me. Yeah,
no.
I just feel,
Yeah.
yeah, that I
The
really want to
only
sit with
answer
that.
that came
Mm,
instantly was the answer that came instantly was, uh, my message. If you go to my website at corneliastephanie.com, on the headers, the message is to the people. The message is remember the truth of who you are. That's my
yeah,
message.
so
That's always that,
that's the
right? That's
simple
always that.
message. Yeah,
So when
yeah,
when when I ask, what do you want people to know about you? That I would want people to know that I remembered the truth of who I am, because
mm,
I'm here talking to you about remember the truth of who you are. Remember the truth of who you are. Well, I have remembered the truth of who I am. I know who I
mm,
am. I know
yeah,
who I am. So that's it. And then I just went more in the journaling and detailing. But
that's what I feel. I mean, my instant reaction to what you just asked, that question, is I want to help others the way that I was helped. That's what I want to be remembered for. She helped, almost like, to turn it around, just make it into the words that make sense, is she helped people the way she was helped, because actually that's to recognize. I'm getting confusing myself now, but to recognize that I could only help because I was helped. Does that make more sense that way around? So that's the message that's what's coming out, my instant reaction to what you said.
Good. Would you also take this into your journey?
We need to work on that, yes.
and just go deeper with it,
I want to,
because who knows, whatever there is, because that's the thing, don't wait to let your friends tell your legacy, because people are going to tell your legacy from their filter. People are going to say to the world, in your community or whatever that it is about you. And don't be so arrogant to think that you're going to be here tomorrow. I'm talking to all of us, because we just don't know, and let's not take anything for granted. And so the bottom line is that what do you want people to know? Because you're the creator of your life. You're speaking it into informing the quantum field of what it is. This is going into the Akash. That's why I'm asking the people to give their voice,
to say it. It's very powerful to do that, isn't it? And I totally agree with you. This exercise was put to me in a different form a long time ago. What do you want people to say at your funeral?
Oh, yeah.
And exactly like you've just said, I don't want other people to talk about me, because they won't necessarily get it right. So it is important. Yeah, exactly. It's very important to make sure that my message to the world is loud and clear.
Loud and clear.
So I have some work to do on that one, Kornelia. Definitely. Thank you.
We're in the Mercury retrograde, you guys. And so the perfect time to get it clear, so that once everything goes direct in mid-June, at the end of June, it's clear. It's on. It's on. So
love it. Thank you.
What a wonderful show today. What a wonderful show.
Been great. Yeah.
Nadine Searle.
Searle. Yeah. You got it second time. Searle. Yeah. Searle.
Nadine Searle. Good.
It's one syllable. That's maybe an easy way. So it's just one syllable. Searle.
Good. Yeah. Got it. Yeah. Nadine Searle.
That's Kornelia Stephanie.
Good. Good. See, this is what we're doing. This is how we're co-creating the new world, is having fun doing what it is we do, helping others. I know that this podcast is going to go out there, and if it helps one person, that is enough. That is enough.
Exactly. One person to hear what we're saying. To hear one little bit of it is enough, isn't it? You're right.
Yeah. As always, it's an honor and a pleasure to be with you.
Been beautiful. I love chatting to you, Kornelia. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you, everybody. Share with us in the chat what
I'd love to hear.
That you want us to know about you. Tell us, because we're curious. We want to know. And for those of you that want to check out Nadine's Calmer Self YouTube.
That's right. Yes,
Calmer Self YouTube. And then also like and subscribe to the Kornelia Stephanie channel, so that you don't miss any of these amazing podcasts that we're putting out. And take the 21-day challenge. Take it into your daily practice, and you're going to love it. You're going to love it, because you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I want to do this again, and I want to take my time. I want to do it again. You're going to love it.
Yeah, it's so worth it. So worth it.
We'll see you again next time, when we're going to talk about self-realization and the inner child, part 3. Talk to you soon, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.